So let's get started. So so far we've looked at so much on JavaScript, and gradually we can actually have confidence, that JavaScript confidence in ourselves, right? So as classes, as our classes end on a daily basis, I really kind of like advise us, let's not all just go home and sleep. Like I would always say, there are channels there, YouTube is there. I even try my best to ensure that I record the sessions. So just in case you're not sure if you understood something clearly, please always go back to them over and over again, right? So one quick thing, when we there's one thing I probably might have not mentioned. Let me just touch a few things which are very, very important that we likely didn't speak about, right? And one of them is like mathematical operations. Mathematical operations. And of course, that should be something that should be something very simple, right? It shouldn't be something complicated or so. Right, bro. And I think mathematical operations can only be carried out on numbers. So it would be a smart thing if we talk about mathematical operations under numbers, right? Mathematical operations. So guys, tell me, when we say mathematical operations, what do you think we're talking about?
Normal arithmetic
Yes,
calculations.
mention them for me, please. Mention them for me now. I don't know them now.
Okay,
Okay,
you
you
add,
huh?
you add, subtract, multiply,
Addition.
divide, do quotient, and all those other things.
Addition is addition is usually represented by the plus, right? And then we have subtraction, like you said, which is denoted by what? The minus. Then you said we also have what?
Division.
How do we how do we denote division? Like this, right?
Yes.
Yes. Then multiplication. How do we denote multiplication? With asterisks, right? And lastly, we have
Yes.
one modulo. How many of us knows what modulo is?
That's
That's
remainder now.
remainder
If you
now.
divide,
If you
what
divide,
is
what
remaining? I think
remain,
that's
I
it.
think that's it. Okay. Edika and Daniel, do you know what we mean by modulo?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what do you mean by modulo? Please, Daniel, tell us what do you mean by modulo? Daniel that said yes. No, no, no. You know, be talking.
Um, Modulus is like division, but it's the remainder that you need there after dividing it.
Okay, that's what you were doing. You rushed to Google, Abi.
No, no, I did not. I wanted to like type it, but yeah, I just used the audio instead.
Alright, that's fine. You guys are absolutely very correct. That's absolutely correct. Just like we do division, right? Just like we do division here, see, if you say 20 divided by 3, we're getting 6 points. Or 20 divided by 2, we're getting 10. What we literally use modulo for, modulo, we can use modulo to test for Boolean, right? When it is, if it is an even number, if it is an even number, it will return 0 to us. If it is an odd number, it returns 1, right? So that's also we have many codes we can work with that would make us, So let's say we say something like okay, that's it. So 20 modulo 2. You see that 20 modulo 3. So it's always going to give us back the remainder. So if the remainder is above if the remainder is above 0, we know that it's not. If the number is 0, we know it's an even number. But if there is a remainder, we know that it is. We know that we know that it is. Know that it is. What am I even saying that I'm not remembering again? If it's above 0, we know that it's an odd number, and we can use that. Like I was saying, we can use that to test for Boolean, right? We can decide to do something like say um yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't think that should be something I should be doing. Like um if I ask you to use modulo to test for Boolean, that could be easy, right? You can just maybe if you want to use prompt, you may say let let number equals to prompt enter 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 a number, right? Then say if number modulo let's say we want to test. So you have a question.
No, I was looking at the if statement. I think the number should be in bracket, something like that.
Mm,
Not the same, the correct syntax.
yes, thank you. So an idea just came to me that why not we give, let's say, the user to have like absolute control. You talk in inputs. If I wanted to like use only two here, okay, let me just do that so that it saves time. Yeah, so when you're writing if, it really has to be in brackets. So if number modulo 2 is equals to 0, return true. Else return false. So let's run this code. Then it's invalid left hand side. Okay. You know, we don't do single equals to, right? How do we say we do equal
Yes.
to? We said
Double equal
double
sign.
what? Yes, so here we want to use triple. So another issue now is talking about my return value, return true.
Yeah, I was wondering if you use the return keyword there.
Hmm, because I didn't call a function, so return would not work. So had it been
Yes.
I used a function, had it been I wrapped all this inside a function. If we are talking about function, let's try it inside a function. Function modulo 2. Did you see that?
Yes,
Yes,
I have a
it is
question
when
here.
I have to
I-
call,
Is
I
it
have to call the function here. I have to call the function in the console log first before I have access to the code, right? So
that is
that may not
actually my
really,
question.
that may not really be what we need. So what you can simply do is because we wrapped it inside our function, okay? So if you let's try taking it out of the function and let's run that. You see, it comes up by itself.
Thank
You
you.
see that?
Sorry, let stay with me here, please.
Okay.
What this this let keyword we used to declare variable. There are some magics they perform if you declare a variable inside the function and then outside. I don't know. Is it that if you declare if you declare a variable inside the function, you should call the function as in the normal way. with or without the return keyword.
So if you call a variable inside a function, sometimes it literally depends on the exact, syntax of the code, but you have to call a function first before you have access to everything inside that function. Just like you saw what just happened here. I was hoping that I was hoping that the code was going to return me the code was going to give me behave exactly how I wanted, but that didn't happen, right? Simply because they let the variable I wanted to use to store what do I want to store again? To collect users input was inside the function. So it depends on exactly what you want to do. If you know you want that user has to call the function first, then you work with the user calling the function. Otherwise, you know, you can just call it outside the function. And now the beautiful thing is anywhere you can literally write a function anywhere in the code. You can write it up, you can write it down and call it wherever you want. Do you understand? You can call it wherever you want, anywhere you want in your code, you can call it. So I just use this to show us a couple things, and it's still on function, right? Just to reiterate what we about function. So if we say we do 75, it's supposed to tell me false now. Why did it not show false now? Okay, if number is equals to 0, true.
You passed in 20 now, so it means that 2 will divide 20 without remainder, and it is true.
No, I don't think I passed in any number. Okay, false. False, 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 false. It's let me come here. Okay, so this is working fine now. This is working exactly how we want. Alright, yes, this is working perfect now. So after that function, never forget to always execute your function. Just like I was trying to say that anywhere we write this function now is actually going to work. If I decide to just come above now and put this, as far as I have defined the function, right? I said the number, once you collect the number from the user, then execute the number in this function. So you can still choose to put the return here. No problem, it's fine. So, okay, it did not work. Oh, 78. Alright, it worked. So, you see, I declared the function under the code, but I came up here and I did that stuff. So I want us to, move. I want us to move because my battery is looking low, sir. Um, so, and if you recall, during our last class, we were trying to talk about things like, when we say x x plus 1. Okay, if we call a variable, if we say x, if we assign a variable, say x equals to 6, we assign a variable, we say x equals to 6, and that x equals to 6, we now come here and say x plus 1 equals to x. So we've assigned a value to x. We said x is 6. And we said it should do, no, this should be x equals to x plus 1. So we did something. We said x is 6. And we are telling x to do what? Increment by 1, right? And we can test that out in our console here. So we can say let x equals to 7. X equals to x plus 1. We see that x is now equals to 8. And if you recall, there was something we were trying to talk about then. We saw something like instead of you having to do this x equals to x plus 1, a shorter way to do this, when we still talk about mathematical incrementing. Okay, let me still indicate that here. And since we've mentioned mathematical incrementing, let me mention here, we mentioned mathematical operation, mathematical increments and decrement, decrement. What do we call that? So,
Anyone is
you said something.
no, as per the decrement, I said everyone is correct.
Okay, yeah, thank you. So instead of this now that we're talking about here now, you can simply just say, if you say, what this simply means now is x plus plus, which is what we were talking about earlier, right? X plus plus means x plus 1. Do you get that? X plus plus means x plus 1. Then x minus minus. Let me space it here so that we will see it well. X minus minus means x minus 1. Then we now have those things where we saw things like, what did we see that time? We saw something like x plus equals to 5, right? And we're wondering, what does that mean? So as far as, and we're trying to try it the other time, like I think we didn't kind of like get the syntax right. I was just thinking about that this morning as I was driving. So as I was in a bus coming coming here before, yeah. So what happened is, because we didn't really create a variable and assign a value to that variable, right? That was literally what happened. Now, if we actually do that, now that if we call x, what's the value we see? 8, right? So instead of doing x equals to, like, when we do something like this here now, x equals to x plus 1, or x equals to x plus plus, which means the same thing. We are simply saying, take the value of x which is 7, then add 1 to it, it becomes 8, then pass it into x. Let it now be the new value of x. That's what we simply mean by x equals to x plus 1, right? Now, instead of doing all that long stuff, if you simply just come here, x plus, okay, let's use minus, x minus equals to 3. It is still the same thing we've said here. So this answer is going to be what, guys? What do you think the answer to this would be?
5.
Thank you very much. The answer is going to be 5, right? X minus equals to 3. Now, what is simply this here simply means you see that 5. Let me come back. So when we say x, just like we're saying here, when we say x plus equals to 5 or x minus equals to 3, this simply means x plus, no, x equals to x plus 5, etc. Right? So instead of x equals to x equals to x plus 1 or x equals to x plus 5, you can say x plus plus or x plus equals 5. So do we get this correctly now? So that is simply what we're trying to say. We, we we are programmers, right? So we think, how do we make things easier for us? And anything that literally, and one of the very importance of functions is that anything that would literally make you to write that line of code again and again and again and again, what should you do? Create a function. It's just like the robots. You see, for instance, now, we wanted our robots to take a step to walk. And before somebody would actually say something has worked, you must have at least taken what? 2 steps, right? You must have at least taken 2 steps. And to take that 2 steps, it made us write 6 lines of code. So let us say we want somebody to take 20 steps. You see, we'll be doing 6 times 20, which is about 1,200, which of course is not even nice. We do that, right? You can literally even create, create that, create a function, right? Since, since two steps is, since 2 steps is 6 lines of code. So what do you do? 2 steps in 6 lines of code, and we want you to take 20 steps. So we created a function that makes it take 2 steps. So you can decide to call that function 10 times. So that means you've written 10 lines of code, which is actually easier, but a much more easier way will still be for you to still create another function and pass into 10 steps. 10 steps, meaning that you write you write the 2 steps function 5 times, right? Inside a new function and call it 10 steps. So that when you are calling for the 20 steps, all you have to do is call that 10 steps just twice. So you see that by doing that, you see that you might be having functions inside functions, inside functions, inside functions. All you are trying to do is reduce as much line of code, as much repetitive lines of code as possible. Now, let's move into, something different. I don't know if we spoke about something like mass.length. Did we speak about the dot length? Did we speak about the dot length attribute? Answer me now.
Sorry, what was the question again?
Did we talk about the dot length?
Dot dot length.
Yes, yes. Have I spoken about dot length?
As in to check the length of an array, is it?
You can use dot length for more than length of an array. You can use it for so much. Length
Well,
of an array is just one
let's go
part.
over it again though.
So I think the is it the dot length, is it when you make you were talking about the robotic this thing, the how you can use to repeat numbers.
No, no, no. That one was function.
Okay, okay, okay.
That one was function. Yeah. All right. Let's just go through it again. Are you opening that place? Are you opening the place? Yeah. Father just sent a message that you guys are not observing Salah. If my laptop dies, I'll end class. If my laptop dies, I don't end class. And we were surprised that we were here since morning. And me and Francis here, nobody is here yet. Okay, okay, see father message here. What? From what? Tell me which man they more important than me. Where you dey? All right. So as I was saying, let's just quickly look at the dot length. Actually, I think I introduced dot length. So one thing you have to note is that in programming, the computer, which I stated earlier, recognizes the first. I get. I no go give you. I no go give you. I no get. I dey play. Right? So the it recognizes the first digit. No, 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 no. You won't carry my charger comot. Okay, one charge and come lock and come comot. I'm telling you, see my battery. See my battery. If this battery dies, I'm going. I'll not be looking for you. You don't want to open there, let me plug laptop. So that is what I'm saying now. All right. I said I'm very sorry for the distraction, guys. The very first placement of anything is recognized by what? Zero. I said the computer starts counting from zero. Just like how many persons do we have in this class now? There are four of you in this class. When we are talking about length, if you say numbers of students in class dot length. So what I'll do now is let me assign a variable. Let number Mr. Chooks, welcome. Let number of students equal to. So I'll take the first alphabets of your name, D I E C. So that is Daniel, Ilodigwe, Edikan, and Chooks, right? So we have to don't you have to put it in a string, right? We have to put it in a string. So we put it in a string. Now, if we now call um if we now call number of students, if we call the number of students and we tap in the dot length, what is it going to say? 4. That is literally what we are talking about. So only dot length. Because we're trying to check the length of something, it's only dot length that will actually, start from 1. And okay, let me still, I'll be, I'll be kind of like doing multiple things at the same time. Now, let us try something different. Let's try something cool, something unique. Say, let me just comment this now. Say we want to call that number of two students. Let me just see if I can copy this from here. Number of students. So when we say array is okay. See what array looks like. It's just now instead of before now I was just taking the first alphabets of your name, right? But in array now, no, array is in this is the bracket, these square brackets, right, for array. Then I can take
Yes, it's square bracket.
yeah, thank you. I can take your real names. Say Daniel, Okugimi. Then you separate them with a comma, right? Chikwezie, Ilodigwe.
So no string in that one. Okay.
Yeah, I'll finish. Thank you. That's from Akwa Ibom. Udonte.
How you take no say na Akwa Ibom?
Who no go know now? Then Troops AK. Now we've just made an array of the number of students into this class, right? So say I want to know the total number of people in class. Let's say I don't have strength to be looking at their names and all. I'm going to console.log number of students. Number of students dot what? Length. If I run this code, you see, I'm going to get 4, right? I'm going to get 4, which is the number of students. So let's also consult, our documentations, right? Say we have MDN docs, we have W3 schools. Um, so let's say arrays in JavaScript. So we have been using W3 schools too much. Let's use something different. Let it not go and look as if maybe I'm one of the founders of W3 school that I like using them too much. So you can see from what it says here is that the array object, as with arrays in other programming language, enables storing a collection of multiple items under a single variable name and has members for performing common array. Did you catch that, Rema? It's very
Yes,
easy, right?
yes.
So what he simply said there is that unlike variables, okay, unlike our traditional variables, see, arrays enables us be able to store a collection of multiple items under a single variable name. And let's also include this our example here. Oh, do we see that? Remember, while we were all this while we are working with variables, the main thing that we've been literally doing and only doing is that we've just been assigning, just single values to the variables. Like here, we said let number equals to, this one now would hold only a single value, number, right? But there may come a time where you need to hold multiple items, like multiple items, a lot of items, like just like you've seen here now. I want a variable to hold the names of all the students in today's class. Now, how do I do that? Because I need to store it in a variable too. Now, I will not be able to do that in the traditional variable, right? All right, sorry for the little distraction. So, like I was saying earlier, arrays literally helps us store a collection of data, unlike our traditional variables that can only take one item at a time, right? So that's that for arrays. So we've already started looking at arrays, which is actually part of, our plan for the curricula. Plan for the curricula, one, two, three, four. Now, so there are actually multiple ways here. Okay, there are actually multiple ways where you can literally get get you know values or inputs from our variables, from the arrays, right? Like take for instance now, say I'm hosting a party and I invited just 5 friends, or I invited just 5 friends, and I told those my 5 friends that they shouldn't invite more than, and I told those my 5 friends that they shouldn't invite more than one person each. And on that day, I'm seeing 25 people on that party. So I told my friends to give me names of the one friend that they are coming with, right? So they all gave me the names. So in my arrays, I have the names of my 5 friends and the name of the friends of one of each of my 5 friends, making it just 10 people I'm expecting. So how do I use this array to write a code that enables me when some, because I may not know them in person. So when somebody comes in, gives me their name, when somebody comes in, gives me their name, I would use that name to check, I'll use that name to check for, I would use that name to check for,
For the total numbers.
yeah, thank you.
Okay.
I'll use the name to check in my array if if that name is meant to be in the party or not. You know, in this Nigerian party, we will want only 5 people to come and you see 50 people. So instead of you to be employing bouncers, you can just write a simple array code that when they come, they type in their name. So if their name shows, then they will be let into the party. If their name did not come up, they would have to go home. So how do you think we can do that? Can you think about it and let me hear your ideas on how simple that would be?
Sorry, I'm bringing you guys back. So to do what exactly?
So I said using array that will receive the name of a person and now give us feedback if that person is actually expected to be in the party, so that we only have those that were invited for the party, not everybody.
Okay, let me understand. You mean you have a list of attendees, and then
Yes.
you want to look through and check if a particular name is expected to be in that party or something like that.
Yes. So of
Uh,
course you will not be looking through. It's a simple code that can literally do that for us.
okay, okay. Sorry, I use flipping through. Okay, hold on. Let me think.
So just look at it.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I think if you have a list of names, an array of names, and then you want to run a check on that array of names to see if a particular name is there, or I don't know, or supposed to be there. I don't know exactly how you put it. I think you might just do array dot that particular name. I mean that array number, that array name, the name of that array dot the name you're trying to access. If you throw something up that will show you that it's not. I don't know if I'm correct.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much for the beautiful idea. Right. Now let's actually wrap. Okay, we have this. Let's try and say right prompt. Let it prompt a user. Please enter your name. Let's say we call it let's and let name equals to prompt enter your name. And we said we want it to look good. So let's say we want it to use alert. We want it to look. I'm going to use the word. We want it to check on the names we have to find if that name is on our list. And the syntax that does that for arrays is called the includes. It's called the
Okay,
include.
so the include is an array method, is it?
Yes, the array
Okay,
method.
okay, thank you.
Includes
All those things plenty. How person want to take care of results for me?
arrays includes in JavaScript. Yes. So array.total.includes. How do you make this work? So let's see. Alert. So now we may need a conditional statement here now. If
Yes.
if number of students dot includes name, that is the name the person imputes, right? Do you
Yes.
understand this?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah.
Very well, sir.
Okay. If the number of students,
If number
okay,
of students dot includes,
includes,
okay,
yes, the name that the
you
person
pass in you pass
enters.
in name,
Uh,
then alert so and so.
alert
You
I,
go attend the party.
yeah, plus name. You are welcome to the party. You are welcome to the party. Else, alert.
Else alert come out from here.
You don't have. You have to be. You have to. You have to show empathy because in case you go to the person's party tomorrow, you never can tell. So sorry, you don't seem to be on our invite list. maybe next time. Let's give it a name. James Akpan. Hi, James Akpan. So sorry, you don't seem to be on our invite list. Maybe next time. So let's give it a name which we have a deacon. Okay. So a deacon is not there. It is a deacon udonte. You see that? So hi deacon udonte, you're welcome to the party. So that is just one of the simple ways to play around with arrays. So you see that with arrays now, using the includes method, we are able to extract a particular value from whatever we want, right? Now, just like somebody was asking the other time, the difference between method and functions, right? So they are almost like the same thing. So you can say methods are almost like, those functions that JavaScript has already, you know, it na follow come. Like now, the thing that makes this includes work, right? You may decide to actually write the code by yourself. You may decide to actually write the code by yourself if you have the time and all that, right? You may decide to write the code by yourself and do it, and it may work. But JavaScript, developers of JavaScript have already, set that up. So we are just using that method, and that method can be used on arrays, right? So there are many other things you can do with arrays, just like, you know, and you have to know that how it numbers things now is it's number, like I said earlier, you know that computer starts from zero. So this is zero, this is one, this is two, this is three, right? So that is how it increments, that is how it takes it. That is how it takes it, okay? So by that you see that if I want to tap into any item on this array, right? Say I want to tap into any item on the array. I want to tap into the item 3, the third, the third item of the array. Okay, from what I just said previously, I've simply said that arrays are indexed. How many of us remember when we did indices in our primary and secondary school? So you know that even in our indices in those schools, we started from was zero. You will do zero raised to power two, zero, So that zero is, that zero is very, 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 very important. Very, very important, right? Very, very important. So everything, when we say something is indexed, what we simply mean that we are starting from zero, we are going one, two, zero, one, two. Yeah, something like that. Zero, one, two, three, four, five. So if I want to tap into the third content of an index, you know that because if I say third, that means it's zero, one, two. Right? The index of two is the third element of that array or whatever. So if I say I want to console.log console.log um console.log what? Number of students. So when you want to tap into that, what you have to do is you have to use your square brackets. Say we want to tap into an element, then we use our square bracket. Once we do two now, let's run this code again. Oh, I was trying to combine.
I think it should be number of students dot something or
Mm, array, say
Okay.
like array. Okay, let's type udon. It's going to tell us no, you're not invited. But I want to see if it would actually console.log. Let me just use the one I have on my console.log. So on my console.log, I have net number of students equals to DIEC. Number of students. Let me use this. Let me use this. Okay, you have your hands raised.
Yes,
Please
sir.
go ahead. Oh.
Um, what if we use number of students, then you put the two in the square brackets, then you remove dot array.
Number of students.
You use the square bracket without the dot array there. Since the number of students is the name of the array.
Okay. Just don't look at the variable name. Like we said earlier, it doesn't really matter. We're trying to test something. So I want to do number of students, number of students. You see, anytime we call number of students, it's going to show us the length and the entire number of students that we have. You saw that there, right? Look at under there. That's literally what is there, right? We're seeing
yes.
4 and the entire, array. But it's not really. We want to tap into 2. Okay, it didn't work. Let me see. Array 2. No, array 2. It still didn't work. Oh.
I think it's index you should be using. I don't know. If you want to access the one that has the number two index, if that's what you, I mean, sorry, I have divided attention.
I'm actually trying to understand what you're saying. I'm not really getting it.
You are passing through, so I was like asking if you're trying to access the index two, the
Yes,
elements
yes,
inside the
yes.
array that has the index two.
I'm trying to access index 2.
Then I think you should do number of students dot index. Then you pass in two. I think so.
Let's try that. My battery that is low now, I'm scared of. So have you seen that now? It didn't work. So it's not a big deal. It's just something we can just choose the length, consider not switch 5. This is consider log
Is it?
switch 5.
Is it?
It's the same thing I'm trying to do here now.
No.
Console.log. Okay. Console dot. Okay. This is what we do. What did I do before? Okay, I did dot two. No, no, no. I didn't need to put that dot. Just call the array name and pass in the index that you want, just like so. Okay, just like so, and it is going to execute.
That's what I
So,
was saying.
okay, I wasn't getting it. All right. So, thank you so much, guys. So, my battery is very, very low. My battery is literally 11%. So I may have to hop back in. But somebody should record my voice. I want to give you guys an assignment now. I want to give you guys an assignment. So as I'm going out, this is something you should be doing. You know Twitter now. We all know Twitter, right?
Yes.
Yes,
So
sir.
there is a limited number of words you can input in Twitter. So we are going to do that. I want us to write a code. You write a code that takes prompts of users, right? But users are not allowed to input more than 100 words. Okay? Users are not allowed to input more than 100 words. So if users input more than 100 words, it will cut out the remaining and they will only see 100 words that they inputted. Okay, so that is the assignment and we can submit it today. Just drop screenshots in our general group chat.